No, I am joined by a Nebraska legend, one of my favorite teammates of all time. This man was a Nebraska team captain, Huskers offensive MVP, 2004, 2005, two-time All-Big 12 performer, twice on the Doak Walker Award watch list, Nebraska record holder for receptions, 9 in receiving yards, 131 in a game by a running back, Mr. Cory Ross. How you doing, my friend?
My man, how you doing, man? I appreciate the intro. That was beautiful to hear.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So you mentioned to me in your a text beforehand, just so people have a heads up, the voice is a little sore today, but I appreciate you powering through. You probably had to get a Toradol shot to join me, but I appreciate it, man. So I
No
interviewed you
problem,
about a
brother.
year ago, and there may be a couple of crossover questions just for the folks who did not hear some of those questions and answers, and this is one of those, but it's worth asking again. The nickname Pork Chop. How'd you get that, my friend?
Oh, man. There's so many stories to how that's happened, but I'll have to give that credit to Deontay Grigsby. The running backs had a thing where we all kind of had nicknames, and when we came in and, the older he gave it to us, and Deontay made some pork chops for the introduction from at his house. I went over there, and I didn't know Deontay Grigsby can cook like that, so I ate about 3 or so pork chops, and he told Coach Gillespie at the time that I ate 7 pork chops. And right there, Darren Dietrich jumps out and laughing real loud and goes, "Chop." And obviously, I'm short, thick, like a pork chop, so everybody's thinking that's what it is, and it was just good. So that's kind of how it came about.
Man, from 3 or 4 to 7. Don't let facts get in the way of a good story, right? All right. It's funny.
Tell me about it.
I actually coached a kid starting in 4th grade, and I coached him for 5 years in football. His name was Brody. We had 2 Brodies on our football team, so I was trying to figure out a way to differentiate the 2. And so Brody, who was the offensive lineman, the other one was the running back, had a Crush. It just said Crush T-shirt on it. And so I started calling him Crush. And here he is going into high school next year, and everybody calls him Crush just because he wore a T-shirt one time, one day. By the way, what a great nickname for a football player.
That is.
All right, man. So we're going to go backwards before we go forwards, as I tend to do in my interviews. Talk to me, because, Bill Callahan is perceived different ways, various ways by Nebraska fans and Husker Nation. What was your experience like, Coach, playing for Coach Callahan? What are your thoughts on your career under Coach Callahan here at Nebraska?
Quite honestly, if it wasn't for Bill Callahan and Randy Jordan coming in and introducing that offense to us, and myself included, and just letting me go into that offense and really just become who I became, I don't know if my career would have been where it was, because it was just everything that you wanted and everything you wanted to learn from a playbook standpoint when it comes to getting to the next level. I enjoyed every bit of having Coach Callahan there as my coach, being able to get to know him more, his family, being that we were captains that senior year, and going in there and enjoying having those conversations, but just realizing, what his approach was and what he really wanted to do. He might have been misunderstood by a lot of people that really didn't get him or understand him, but I got to see a different side. And, I got to be around Coach Jordan, a lot of those coaches at the time, rest in peace, Coach Blake, a lot of those guys really was one of the main reasons why I think I became the type of player I became, and it helped me to make a roster, an NFL roster, by knowing his style of position. As fast as I was able to, I have nothing but love and respect for what he did for me, and not only our team and what he was trying to for the city and the state of Nebraska with his style of playing, that fun offense, creative.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Coach Randy Jordan, the former running backs coach, when you were there, I think he's still out in D.C. I could be wrong, but he'd been out there for many, many years. In fact,
he's now with the Tennessee Titans now.
He is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So as I was going out the door in D.C., Coach Jordan was just coming in the door, and actually Coach Callahan was the offensive line coach for a couple of years there as well. So that was the last time I saw them. So it's been a while. But in 2002, I mean, it was a loaded running backs room, David Horn, etc. All right, you were 6th on the running back depth chart, at one point throughout that offseason. How'd you climb to the top of what was a stacked running back room during that time?
I would like to say just grit, man. I think at the time when we were in school, there wasn't a transfer portal, so you had to, go through everything that you had to go through. I went through injuries. I had a shoulder injury my freshman year, and they had shoulder surgery, so I didn't even get to play as a freshman. I thought I would because I thought I was going to be ready to play, and I ended up having shoulder surgery, so I had to sit out a year there. Then I was starting, and I had a really good camp going into spring training, and then going into fall camp. I ended up spraining my MCL, and I had to understand that, hey, these injuries are the reasons why I'm not getting an opportunity. I think when I get an opportunity, I will be able to show what I can do, and I just had to be patient with it. I mean, there were times where I probably didn't know if this was going to be the school for me, but I knew all the things that I was going through wasn't nothing that was inflicted by the coaches. It was just, hey, these things happen in football, so let's see if I can get healthy, and let's give myself an opportunity to just give it a shot. And when I got a shot against KU, I went in and had a heck of a game. And ever since that game, even Coach Solis at the time came in the room and was like, hey, we're going to give you another opportunity to start, because I did some things in that game that we weren't able to do that year, and so it was awesome. And ever since then, went from KU, K-State, Colorado, and then obviously those guys got let go of, and I had to prove myself again with Coach Callahan and those new coaches. But it was for me, it was just sitting there, grit, man, just wanting to be a part of it, wanting to win, wanting to stay in Nebraska and be a part of everything, and really just trying to, hey, earn my scholarship and really show, these coaches what I can do and show the city what I can do.
So you talk about Coach Solich real briefly during that answer. So it comes into my mind, I got to ask you this. What are your thoughts on Coach Solich, our former coach, coming back to Nebraska and being honored recently, but also going into the College Football Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I really wish I was there. I remember I had a game at the time. I got the group text from Josh Davis and a lot of those guys. Coach Solich was a father figure. He stepped in my room in my house when he came to get us on a recruiting trip. He stepped in my house and had probably one of the coolest, most calming conversations I've ever seen my dad and my mom a part of. And I knew that man was going to be somebody I wanted to coach for. So I think like everybody else, or play for it, and I think like everyone else, it hurt so much when he got let go, especially with the changes he was making and trying to change the direction of where we were going to go. That was very unfortunate, but as we all know how this world works, you got to still move when whatever happens. And so I had to Jeff to Callahan and whatnot. But what Frank Solich was able to do for me and really stood on what he said, he's going to give me an opportunity. And I have to earn my keep, and I had to make sure, when I got the opportunity, I had to seize it. He said that to the group. He said it to all 9 of us, and I think all 9 of us all knew. If he would forget, we had Marcus Simmons and a couple others that was in that room at the time. And hey, when you get an opportunity, you got to take advantage of it, and you have to be ready for it, and that one thing that I learned from Coach Solis was just that. And when I did get the opportunity, I didn't know if the next week they were going to play me. I just thought, hey, it was a lucky game. I had a great game. The next week he walked in there and said, you're going to start this week. And I was sitting 4th on the depth chart before they put me in the second half against KU. So he stood on his word, man. And he said that when he came to my recruiting visit and sat down in my mom and dad's house, and he stood on it. I love him for it, and I truly appreciate him. I always watch what he was doing in Ohio, man, and he still went on there to be another great coach and did really great for them. So, man, I love what we did, what the city did for him, and brought him back, and he deserves everything he's getting because he was a great coach.
So it's a loaded running back room again this year, man. And in different ways throughout your career, you can probably relate to a lot of these guys. You look at Gabe Irvin, Ramir Johnson coming back from injuries, similar to you. You think of Emmett Johnson, who ended up 4th to starting last year. Now he's got to prove himself all over again with Gabe coming back and Ramir playing. And you got the transfer from Oregon, Dante Dowdell. And so he's got to prove himself again, much like you had to do when Callahan and his crew came in. And then you've got Quentin Ives, a guy who's fighting first. He's actually getting a lot of reps right now due to some of the guys not being clear just yet, but kind of like you, maybe a little bit deeper on the depth chart right now, but he's trying to work his way up. You can relate to just about all the guys in this room. So what advice would you give these guys, knowing college football is a little bit different today, though?
I would say, the advice I would give him right now, man, is just to seize every opportunity you get and just cherish those moments. But realize how serious it is, man. If I'd have known how much and how important working out was. Right? We know we run, we go train, we go through all conditioning stuff, and a lot of us hate it. Right? We don't really take it serious. And it wasn't until I really got to the next level of the NFL where I realized how much of a business this is, but you also have to take and treat your body that way because that is the reason you are playing. And if I would have known that when I was a freshman, I probably would have played faster because I was just a young kid out there having fun, enjoying, meeting new people from all walks of life and living life with them and enjoying the group, but not really understanding, hey, I need to get my body together so it can become healthy. And like I said, Dave Kennedy, shout out to him when he came in as part of that staff with the Bill Callahan crew. Man, he turned me into a machine, and I felt really good and was able to stay healthy enough to make sure I was able to do the things I do. Not only, so I would tell those guys, take it a little bit more serious. I know it's fun. College can be fun, but that is the most important part. If you can keep yourself healthy, and when the opportunity presents itself, you got to be ready for it. You got to know the playbook. You got to know how to protect. All those things are key. Like you can be a great runner, but if you don't know how to protect, we got to take you off the field on third downs or big downs. And now we don't know what we want to really do with you. And now you have to be able to catch the ball, run the ball, block. Those things are huge in this game, especially as a running back, and now, especially nowadays with running backs. But I tell those guys to focus on their bodies, stay healthy, do everything you need to be to stay on that football field. And when you're on that football field, know what you're doing and handle your business.
All right, I want to give a shout out to Nicholas Snyder who sent in a comment. He says, Adam, Corey's my all-time favorite football player growing up, and I was even called pork chop in midget football. If I was taller than 5'4", you would be next in line. He sends like a laughing emoji. You both are inspirational. So I want to give a shout out to Nicholas. And as always, you guys can send in your comments on YouTube and/or call or text 402-464-5685. Yeah, for sure. This is the Aloe Fiber VIP line. All right, man. So last year, Nebraska ran the ball really well, effectively throughout the entire season, top 5, top 10 in the country for most of the year when it came to rushing the ball, which is incredibly impressive because they did struggle to pass the ball. And they're trying to improve that this offseason. But as you watched Nebraska last year on offense, what were your thoughts as, man, they're doing this really well, and what are some things you think they could improve on going into next year?
I think we all, we all know what it was. Really, we just couldn't pass the football. And when you're not able to do that or not win those one-on-one battles on the outside, when you get the opportunity to, or not be able to deliver the passes on time or with great accuracy, it's going to struggle. Period. So now they can put those guys in the box and really try to stop the run, and we were still able to run pretty well. That's what's crazy. So that, for me, what I want to see is just a transition now to what we can do in the passing game, creating more play action, utilizing the tight end a whole lot more. I'm not even lying, maybe even bring a fullback back into the system and have some fun with that. I think we did it a little bit last season, but I think they need to utilize that more and really get a passing attack, maybe start with the simple things, the small, short throws to free up some things. But we have to get a passing attack because I really believe the offense is going to be headed in the right direction. We got some running backs there that I think are going to be able to take full opportunity, and a lot of those guys have gotten reps. Now they're ready to continue playing. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I mean, I think everybody's excited about Mr. Raiola over there and coming back. And obviously, his brother was there when I was a freshman, or his dad was there when I was a freshman. So it's crazy to even be talking about it. But it's going to be awesome to see what they decide to do and where we go from here. Not even just this year, but the next 3 or 4 years. Because I think Coach Wills is doing a great job, and how he is as a man, and everything that he says just speak volume. Just when you're able to watch and listen, and even when he's in the media and talking to everyone else, he just stands on what you want to be. He almost reminds me of how Coach Soldier kind of stands on his word, and how he stands on talking to kids and really want to develop them, not only in just football, but in life. And when you have that kind of approach to a college system, it can turn around to be great. So we keep him involved, and he stays here longer than 5 or 6 years. Let's see what happens with the Huskers, man. I think the sky's the limit with the approach that they're taking. So I'm excited about it.
All right, Corey, I appreciate you taking the time to join me